Oh man, were you gonna talk?
I was going to talk first. We're feeling honest today.
Oh, honest, yeah. I was water. I'm feeling honest too. I just was coughing.
Ride across this country into the starlight. 12,000 miles, turn back, do it again. No destination, it's just a journey. You were my lover and friend.
This is our list of the 7 best and worst parts of bus life, living on the road. There's more than 7. You could say other things, but I think this is our 7.
I think we'll start with the worst things, so then we have something good to look forward to later. Yeah?
Yeah, I think that's a good plan.
First thing is keeping a small space tidy. While it cleans up pretty quick because it's small, it does get messy very fast. Dishes, like, you almost have to do those as you're going, otherwise that's just horrible, and you got to stay on it daily and even throughout the day.
The first thing we start our day with is cleaning the whole bus. We try to do any dishes from the night before, wipe off the counters, sweep the floors, make the bed, and just start the day with a clean bus, because clutter, it makes me frustrated. I can't find things, everything's out of place. In a small space, you have to stay super organized. That's why when we were building our bus, we kind of looked at all our kitchen items, just all of our belongings, and we tried to build a space for each item so that we could be ultra organized. And then when we're cleaning up, you find, the hot sauce. Oh, that has a specific spot. You find our camera bag. That has a specific place. So anything that's out, it's easy to put it away because you just know right where it goes. And then you do that every morning. You do that throughout the day. And then it stays under control. Otherwise, it gets out of control so quickly.
For sure. Just have to stay on top of it, and it's not much of a big deal.
Number 2 on our list of worsts is breakdowns. When your vehicle breaks down, your house also breaks down, and that is very specific to bus life. We have to pack up all of our things, our computers, we have to pack a lunch and go sit in a waiting room without access to our belongings. It can be really difficult. We're getting all our snacks ready for the mechanic shop waiting room. We're experts at this by this point.
Gotta get that PB&J game strong,
We are finally in the mechanic shop parking lot for the night.
Yeah, it's pretty miserable. I mean, you just can't relax because you can't go home because they have your home, and sometimes you're there for days on end. You could get a hotel, and sometimes you have to get a hotel. Sometimes they'll let you sleep there if they're going to be more than one day. But I do find if you sit there, it puts a bit more pressure on them to maybe prioritize to get you back on the road because they know that you live in there and they don't want you maybe hanging out for days and days.
Yeah.
But it's stressful. It's not fun. It's, you roll with it, you get used to it, but it's not fun.
Some of our most frustrating days on the road have been breakdowns. Just that uncertainty of, is this going to be some catastrophic moment, unfixable problem that is going to leave you houseless? That is always my biggest fear. So anytime we have a breakdown, it's been some of our lowest moments, and it's just not fun.
Yeah, it's horrible. Third thing is being aware of your utilities. What I mean by that is your water supply, propane if you have propane, and the gas for your vehicle. Nothing worse than when you're at a desert or forest spot that's beautiful and all of a sudden you realize we're out of water and you have to leave, and you were planning on staying for a while, because you want to enjoy that, but you can't do dishes, you can't take a shower, and you have to drive 30 miles. And then sometimes it can be hard to find water. Usually not too bad, but it's not fun. And then propane can be a bit more difficult to find. It seems like when you're not looking for it, you see it everywhere, but when you need it, it's hard to look up on Google.
Yeah, it's really hard to search.
Not labeled well.
It's really hard to search for propane fill stations. And at least early on in our experience with this lifestyle, we didn't know how to find water consistently. And so it would lead to these moments of us having to buy a gallon of water or fill up our handheld water tank at a gas station bathroom faucet and then use that to wash dishes for a few days until we could find water. Just really frustrating, annoying things. And then you don't want to do a lot of dishes, so you don't want to make any meals. And it's just this cascading effect of frustration and feeling like you're backed into a corner. So we learned a few years in to use iOverlander to find water. iOverlander is a user-based app, so people can update it when they find water spigots or at truck stops and loves. That's almost always when we're traveling consistently where we will find water the most.
Yeah, they usually have.
Yeah, so if you look on iOverlander, it's usually just an orange dot with a little water symbol, and people will mark where they have found water. So we'll find one of those on our route and make sure we stop and fill up. Even if we're not completely out of water, we will still stop and top off just to make sure we don't put ourselves in that really annoying, frustrating situation of having to leave a beautiful spot.
Yeah, just be aware of it. Sometimes you can find water at like community centers and parks and that kind of stuff too. So you learn to kind of like be looking for that, but definitely know where your levels are at.
The next worst for us is finding camp spots in unfamiliar places. I'm not even talking about not doing research before you go or having a spot to aim for. I'm talking about when those don't work out. When you get to a spot that you plan to camp at and suddenly there's a bunch of no camping signs and that wasn't mentioned online. And then it's getting dark and you're driving around and you're searching for a camp spot and you don't know where you can stay. Some of the most frustrating things.
Yep, you want to get that done early in the day, so if you need to find a different spot, you have time. Driving down dirt roads in the dark, it can be stressful, especially if you don't have like a big light bar that shoots light to the side, because you really can't see some of these turnoffs until you turn your vehicle towards it.
It just looks like bushes or forest, and so you can't even see the BLM or like free camping spots. You can't even find a fire ring because now it's dark, and so you're just fighting a losing battle. This can also happen in cities. Same deal. When you get to a Walmart and suddenly, you know, there's no camping, there's no other RVs, you can call the desk at Walmart as well and ask if camping is okay. If they say no, you got to find a new spot. So you're looking for street parking and you're arguing, that spot looks great.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to stay there. And, you know, tensions are high and it's just not fun.
Yeah, it's good to develop that skill of like knowing what sort of places work for like stealth parking just to get by through a night, and you start to recognize them, and even just driving around, you're like, oh, that'd be a good spot. That'd be a good spot. Even if you're not looking for a spot that day, you then maybe know in that area there was a side road by an apartment complex that was a dead end that would work well, that was well lit, that kind of stuff. But it can be stressful. Definitely get it done during the day. Do not be doing it at night if you can avoid it. It will happen sometimes, but try to avoid that for sure.
It's stressful no matter how much experience you have. If you're in an unfamiliar area, you don't know what you don't know.
The next thing up on the list is getting mail. Not that it's necessarily difficult, but with many things, living this lifestyle, you have to have more time allotted for it. You have to plan ahead, particularly that. Because if you're moving from one spot to another, whether that's city to another city or another state, you need to know, okay, I'm going to be in this town for this 2-week period. I can get things sent general delivery or a FedEx pickup center. But you have to have that planned out ahead. You can't just be like, I need to get mail in 2 days. That doesn't usually work. So just have time for it. Plan it out.
The convenience factor is something you don't have when you're living this lifestyle. And I think a lot of the time when people are asking us questions about living in a bus, they want the perfect answer. They want to know that everything is as easy as living in a house and that things are convenient. And that's just not the case with so many things. So when we answer questions, a lot of the time people are not satisfied with the answer because there are so many perks to living this life and we'll talk about those soon. But the bad things are difficult. As with any lifestyle, there are difficult parts to it. So just choose your challenges. Getting mail is one of those things you have to have more forethought. You have to think about where you're going to be. As we mentioned in our Q&A last week, we get mail through general delivery, USPS pickup points, FedEx. We also use a family member's address for official documents and voting. We will also maybe use a friend's address if we need to pick up a package and we know we're going to be in the area. It just takes more planning. It's a little bit more difficult. Packages sometimes aren't delivered where you think they're going to be delivered. We just went through that with our battery cell.
Yeah.
It took over a month of them shipping it all over the country. It's more planning, but it's worth it.
Number 6 is compromising time within each other's interests.
We have one vehicle. Just this bus. It's not like when I want to do something, I can get in my car and go do it, and Drew can take the bus and go do what he wants to do. Whatever one person is doing, the other person also has to go along, and that can be really difficult.
Sometimes maybe I want to go somewhere new, play a new disc golf course or something like that, and she doesn't want to go, or she has obligation maybe in the city. I have to say, well, it's not going to work today. And we'll plan another day where maybe she has a lot of online work to do, where she can still be in her house comfortably while I'm out doing a hike or playing disc golf or whatever it may be. But you have to kind of plan those things and choose what you really want to do and then kind of work it out.
It's a lot of give and take and respecting the other person's interests and making sure that the other person is happy. You have to balance your time between each other's interests because that's just the healthy and respectful thing to do.
Yeah.
This also goes for time within our space. The bus is small, and if I want to be at the booth doing work, that means that Drew can't be laying on the couch because they are the same piece of furniture.
Yeah.
If I want to be sleeping, Drew can't be playing a loud video game on our projector in bed. He's got to move it to the front. It's just compromises both within the bus and outside of the bus.
And even the bus itself, sometimes it's nice to let one person have the bus and other person can go out for a hike, it's nice when you're in an area that you can do that. And I could, like this morning, I took like a 4-mile hike while you did some stuff in the bus, and it was good. We each had our own space. So yeah, you have to compromise within the bus space as well.
Number 7, the last thing on our list of worst things, is finding a routine and balance while being in constant motion. Something about bus life, van life, that took me a really long time to realize was that stability needed to come from within myself because I wasn't going to find it in my surroundings. It's just the fundamental part of living in a bus. You're moving around. Your house is mobile. Your surroundings are constantly changing. And in the beginning, it was really hard for me to just ground myself, both mentally, but also physically, to find, ways to move my body every day and not treat every day like a vacation. I feel like the first 6 months of our time on the road, we treated it like a vacation. We didn't eat healthy. We didn't work out consistently. We weren't prioritizing those things that we needed to make a healthy life and build a healthy life. But we figured out very quickly that is draining and exhausting. So finding that balance between going beautiful places, but still being able to sit down and do some work on my computer or meditate or work out before we go do some fun things, it's a tough balance to find. Because when Yosemite Valley is right outside your door, or the Grand Canyon, and you have to sit down and do your taxes, it's so difficult. That's not something that you want to do. But this is our life. It's not a vacation.
Yeah.
So finding a routine, finding balance, really important. It is about 8:30 right now. I just got up, I made breakfast, I made some coffee. I set up the table in our booth couch mode so that I could have a more comfortable place to work. I set up my iPad, my computer. I made my to-do list so that I can stay on track today, hopefully working on our website, getting a blog post up, doing some video editing. It's all stuff that I personally love to do, but it's really hard when right outside is gorgeous weather, beautiful hiking trails, and things I also love to do outside. So I'm working at being better at keeping a routine, staying on track. We'll see how it goes.
You know, it can be nice when you have stretches of running quickly place to place and seeing things and hang out with lots of people, but you can't sustain that. Like she said, it's our life, it's not a trip. So you have to have particularly like physical movement in your body, right? When you're driving so much and going, all of a sudden that just gets kicked to the curb because you don't have time for it. And I definitely feel a lot better and balanced when we stay in a place for 2 weeks or like an area for a month, and I can get in a routine of getting up and working out a little bit, taking walks, and it's definitely way better. You have to do that. You got to figure that out, whatever that means for you, for sure.
It takes just a little bit more discipline and willpower at times.
All right, guys, that wraps it up. Those were the 7 worst things.
We're gonna get out of here. Leave your comments below. We will try to answer them. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.